Hello and welcome to the Friend Leigh Show. I am your host and friend, Leigh. Sorry for being a few minutes late. If you're watching in the live version of this, if you're listening to the audio version, then hey, I'm right on time. So yeah, technical difficulties. Somehow my computer had me still on June 3rd, and it's June 4th at the time of the recording. And the reason why that is so funny is that all day I have felt like it was Tuesday. So even my computer did that. And I didn't realize that it was going to affect the stream, but it did. So I had to go in and try to figure out how to manually change that, which I also did. So way to go, Leanne. I won against technology again today. Anyway, I am so happy that you guys are here for the show. If you guys are new, please let us know. One of my favorite parts of the show is the live version of it, because every time that you are here and you have a comment, you come right up on stage, and you can be watching it in the comfort of your PJs because you only come in as a comment, just like this. Pops is here. Hey, Pops. He says, hi there, young lady. Well, hello, young sir. Yes, so this is my favorite part. We get to communicate together as if you're in my living room and we're kind of just having a conversation. And what the conversation is always around on the Friend Leigh Show is it centers around the 5 pillars of the happy framework. So health, affection for yourself, purpose, partnerships, and youthfulness. Every week, we take one of those pillars and we talk about it. And we look through the lens of whatever the series is that we're doing that month. And so this month, our series or our theme is going to be all about acceptance, mainly self-acceptance. This is something that is a personal thing that I need to be working on. I need to accept a lot of things in my life right now. It's a very hard, quote unquote, season. And I keep falling into the trap of expectation, expecting things to be different, into the trap of forward thinking about what is going to happen. There's a lot of things that are going on right now, especially while we're at the hospital, that makes me want to think about, oh my gosh, what does this mean for the future? What does this look like in the future? And quite frankly, we can't control any of that. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know what's going to happen in the next moment. The internet could crash here and the podcast doesn't even matter because it didn't happen because the internet crashed, right? Anything could happen. You could get in a car accident, and now everything that you worried about, next week is going to look drastically different if you survive that crash, because chances are your life is going to look different, right? So we don't know what our circumstances are going to bring for our future. And so we need to accept where we are right now. We need to accept ourselves the way that we are right now. And one of the big things with acceptance is people think, especially like type A personalities, people that like to goal achieve, people like to move forward, have a growth mindset. I am absolutely 100% one of those people. And I also believed before that if we accept where we are, then that's kind of like saying I'm mailing it in. I'm accepting it and that's it. And I can't change it. And that's, I'm not going to be able to grow. And I was like, why would you accept where you are? Like, you've got to go here and you can go here and the potential is there. But the truth of the matter, I actually don't even like to say the older that I get, because I know a lot of people that are much older than me and they don't get this because they're not doing the inner work. They're not doing the work to really find out what makes them tick. And they're not doing the work to find out what humans need. And so, which is fine, whatever, do you. But the longer that I am diving into this, the more I realize that we need to slow down. We need to center our nervous system. We need to accept where we are. We need to be where we are. And that is the only way that we're really going to sustainably be able to grow and to get to that next level. If we don't accept where we are today, it is going to be very difficult for us to sustain health and wealth and success in the future. So That is what I want to talk about all this month. Not only is it going to be fun to have the conversations, especially with you, but it's also going to be fun for me because I do research before I do every podcast episode. I like to dig a little bit deeper into the things that we're going to be talking about. And at the beginning of the show, I also like to kind of give you, if you're listening just in the audio version, hello. If you're listening to us in the audio version, I like to give you a little something that's kind of, here's the kind of we call them Cole's notes. You guys call them, what do you guys call them? Cliff notes, of what we're going to be talking about in the first like 10-ish minutes. And then we have a conversation afterward. But that conversation becomes kind of bouncy because I bring your comments up. We talk about it. It goes all over the place. It's a lot easier to track when you're on YouTube or Twitch, LinkedIn or Facebook, and you're watching live because you'll see the comments come up and you're able to kind of like navigate the conversation a lot easier than if you're listening to this just on the audio as a podcast, right? So I am going to get into that right now. But I just wanted to kind of set the stage for what this month is going to look like, why acceptance is so important for me to be talking about, but also for us kind of as a society, we need to be talking about it. Oh, bummer. Pop says Mel won't be here today, just FYI. Oh, that's a bummer. So Mel is Pop's wife, and they come on usually every week together, but separately, which is really cool. They both come in from their own social profiles. So then they can both comment together, which is a lot of fun to watch. But thanks, Britt, for letting me know that. Thank you. So I'm also going to start off with my disclaimer. You guys, I am not a healthcare professional in any means. I don't pretend to be one, and I don't want you to think I am one. But I am your friend, and I'm trying to really hone into conversations that I know I need and that I think you need. And I get a lot of information from you guys. When you're listening to this, if you hear something that either I've said or one of the comments that have come on, please know that it's meant for basically for entertainment and education purposes. It is not meant as treatment, diagnosis, or any of that. So if you hear something that you're like, oh my gosh, that's so me, or oh my goodness, I think I'm going to try that thing. It worked for Britt. It might work for me. I want you to get curious about it, but I want you to bring it to a healthcare professional that knows your story, that knows your history, your family history, what meds you're on already, all of the things. Okay. So here we go. So the title of this episode for this week is Tired of Hating Your Body? Try this radical method. I can't remember what I said instead. And the reason why I did that is because today we're going to be talking about the first two pillars, which really go hand in hand. We always talk first week of the month about health and affection for yourself. So the HA of happy. So how does acceptance really tie into our health and the way that we show ourselves that we love ourselves? And quite frankly, a lot of us, now, if you don't hate your body, if you love your body, if you love your mind, if you love the way you think, the way you operate and what you look like, then kudos to you. Please stay and come on over to either the live version, if this is being recorded live right now, which we do every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, or whatever the equivalent is for you. Or if you're listening to this kind of in the replay or as the podcast, please come over to one of the platforms and comment and let me know how you got there. Okay. But for the majority of us, this is something that we have to work on. It is absolutely something that I have gotten much better at. But it is something that still comes up, and I still go into old programming where I believe that I need to lose weight, get fit, get firm. Once I fill in the blank, usually about my weight or my body, it will be better. I have Lebanese and Maltese background in me, so I have the wonderful extra fun thing about growing hair, where usually men do. So I have my mustache and a cute little goatee sometimes if I'm not checking it. And those are things that I've always been shamed about. Well, not shamed by anybody in particular, but by society, and things that I've had a really hard time with. And those are things that I need to work on. And usually I'm okay with it, but sometimes I fall into that. Now I still take care of it because I like to feel, not because the society's telling me to, I like to take care of it. But I need to be checking, why am I wanting to do this? Because here's the thing, for all of you guys that are type A or goal-oriented, growth mindset oriented, accepting yourself or accepting where you are does not mean that you have to put the brakes on growth. In fact, there's been so much research that has shown that by accepting yourself where you are right now, it actually can catapult you to be able to take on those goals a lot easier, because your nervous system becomes regulated once you have compassion, once you accept where you are and who you are and what you look like and all of the things. So instead of hating our body, because if you're, in your 30s, 40s, or later, then, you probably were raised, thankfully the 20-year-olds and teens are starting, I'm hoping, to realize that shaming ourselves, criticizing ourselves actually does not promote growth. So we used to think that, if you hate your body, it'll make you get to the gym a lot quicker. And if you, deprive yourself of food and you go on these crash diets and you really just you punish yourself for the way you look, you'll do and hurt enough that you will make change. And you may make change immediately in the short term, but it is very rarely a sustainable type of thing. And so instead of hating our body, what I'm going to suggest is that we radically accept our body for the way it is. A couple of years ago, I heard somebody say, when you don't like your cellulite, when you don't like how big your thighs got, or the wrinkles that you got, or whatever it is, you, instead of saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe how old I'm getting, you can thank your body that it has taken you to this point that you're able to start aging, because a lot of people don't get there, right? There's a lot of people that do not make it past the age of 20, 30, 40, 50. And if you've gotten there and you're starting to show the signs, be grateful. Also, if it's, something that you've gained weight, instead of being shamed about it, just simply accept it. And also accept the fact that unless it's a health issue, that maybe you're on, a medication that has made you gain weight. However, I'm just going to say this as your friend. A lot of the time, the medication, most of the time, some of them do, but most of the time, medication will change your appetite. Doesn't make you gain weight a lot of the time, right? It doesn't make you gain weight. It changes your appetite. And we, especially if we're on these medications, we will have comfort food. And that comfort food and the fact that we've had an elevated appetite, that is what's making us gain the weight. It is not the medicine that is making us gain the weight for the most part. Again, there's some that, yes, that's what it does. You're going to, blow it up, or you're going to get, for prednisone and things like that, like the steroid face and all these kinds of things. It's fine. Those things happen. But a lot of the time we put the responsibility on the med. It's like, oh, I'm on this med, and so I'm gaining weight. But is it the med, or is it the fact that you're, have a bigger appetite, and so now you're going and hardcore into the cookies, into the Haagen-Dazs, into the Ben and Jerry's, so you got to start questioning that and accept that, yeah, you know what? I made some choices that weren't as healthy for me, and that got me here. Accept that. Don't berate yourself. Don't shame yourself, but accept that those decisions led me here. And I accept that I am here because of these decisions or because of these life circumstances. And then you, at that point, when you accept it, and not as a, oh, why me, or woe is me, or how did I do this to myself? How did I get here? How did I Those are not productive. But you can then start asking your questions like, well, now if I want to lose weight to be healthy, what can I do? How can I lose weight healthily? How can I? How can I? And you can start tapping into the healthier questions because you're coming from a more calmed state and not from this angry, I hate myself. How did I do this? Oh my gosh, you know what? You should just never eat. Oh, you're going to have to go on this crash diet. You can do it lovingly and say, hey, you know what? The choices that I made got me here. And now the choices that I'm going to make here are going to get me there, right? From a different energy. And I think that's what the biggest thing is. The cost of hating your body is the fact that punishment just doesn't work long term. It might work, like I said in the beginning, but it does not work long term. So all that does is it leads to a cycle of shame and self-sabotage and burnout rather than sustainable wellness. And that's what we need to start shifting our mindset to. So we need to start asking ourselves, okay, what if I was peaceful right now with my body as a starting point? Then what could my future look like? Like what could I do if I was peaceful and loved my body, if I was kind to my body? What could we do? What kind of choices? Also, if you're loving yourself, you're going to want to do nicer things to it. You're going to want to make it move. You're going to want to drink your water. You're going to want to do these things because you're going to want to take care of yourself. But if you hate yourself, why would you want to take care of yourself? You wouldn't. Think of somebody that you really, really don't like. Do you want to be kind to them? Do you want to do nice things for them? No. So why do we think that if we hate ourselves, we're going to want to do nice things for ourselves? Why do we think that we're going to want to be kind to ourselves? We're not going to. So that's why the self-acceptance is so important in the beginning before we even talk about affection for ourselves, before we talk about how we can talk kindly to ourselves. We have to accept where we are. Another thing that I want you guys to be thinking about is this nervous system regulation. We talk about it on the show a lot, but compassion, it really it calms our nervous system. We go into this rest and digest mode. And when we accept where we are and we're like, you know what, it's okay. It's okay. Like you can feel this calm over your body and it's not a mental calm. You can actually feel it in your body and you're able to start actually digesting better because you don't have these heightened levels of cortisol and the stress hormone that's holding everything in because your body doesn't know if you're in this hate mode that I hate my body. I can't believe this. Your body doesn't know where that hate is directed. It doesn't know if you're actually in something that you should be fighting or fleeing from or running from. And so it's not going to take care of all of the things it needs to do to protect your body. It's going to do the things you need to do to protect you from the space that you're in. So we really need to be more gentle with ourselves. And one of the things that I really, really like to do in this show, especially in this part, is talk about like, what can we do? So what can we do to start accepting where we are? And one of the things which I need to bring back, because I did this a couple of years ago, and I've done it with a lot of people that I've worked with. And I'm going to tell you, this is going to be hard. You may cry. You may want to keep your therapist on standby or have an appointment ready the next day. But it is so powerful is for you to, when you get up or after you're done showering, to look in the mirror before you get dressed, before you put anything on, and look at yourself in the mirror, every part of you, especially the parts that you don't like, especially the parts that you berate, that you hate. Look at them. Set a timer, and you can set a timer. 3 minutes is excellent. But even 30 seconds, because I'm going to tell you the first time you do this, it's going to be really hard. And then the next day that you do it, maybe you could set it for 35 seconds. And then maybe you could set it for 40 seconds. And you can just kindly build up that endurance of being able to look yourself in the mirror, your whole self, your whole being, and accept all of it. So if you don't like your thighs and you've always said, I want, smaller thighs or whatever that might be. Start looking at them with loving eyes, with loving words. The first time you do this, you might just be able to look at yourself, and barely. But that starting point is so important, because with anything, when we hide from it, we're not able to change it. We're not able to accept it. We're not able to do anything about it. We're hiding like it's a huge monster. And once we're able to start looking at it, a lot of people talk about shining a light on it. It's no longer in the darkness. It's no longer in the shame. And you can actually look and be like, oh my gosh, it's actually not as bad as I thought. Like, a lot of the body image issues that we have, a lot of the berating and the hate that we have resides in here, not in our thighs, not in our butt, not in our stomach. It resides in here and completely screws up the way that we're looking at ourselves. So by opening our eyes and looking in that mirror, now I'm telling you, I'm not a healthcare professional. And this is something that will be triggering for many of you. So please do it with kindness and possibly talk to a healthcare professional before you do it. You might be thinking, stop being dramatic, but I'm going to tell you, if you haven't done it before, it is going to be alarming, the emotions that come up for it. But that is a really good sign that you've been hiding from it and hating something that you actually don't see. So that, I think, is one of the best starting points. And then also, like, putting into practice just micro acts of self-love, like little things that would just make you calm down. Little things like just mindful breathing. Even if you have to put it on your phone and set up timers that, 3 times during the day, you're going to just do some active breathing. If you're able to put it in your schedule that you're able to go out into nature, and by nature, you guys, it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to drive somewhere where you're going to go hiking. You just go somewhere that there's trees or that there's grass. And for those of you that aren't in areas that you're able to easily access trees and grass and greenery, even just being outside where there is fresh air and there is sky, there doesn't even need to be clouds, or there can be clouds. Just that is also nature. So you don't have to give yourself these excuses like, oh, well, I don't live anywhere that I can really easily access nature. You can go outside. That's nature. Okay. Even in a big city, that's still nature. If you look up, if you look at the sky. Okay. And if you're in New York and you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, you don't know because you can't actually see the sky. You can if you look directly up. There's not many places that have the catwalks. And if they do, move 5 feet and you will be in a spot that you can look up and look at that sky. So those are just a couple things that you can do. You can also do a practice of, and this is going to be my last one because I want to get into like the conversation with you guys, but you can also do a practice where you start becoming aware of the way that you're speaking to yourself and catch those inner critic moments and thoughts that you're having and physically write them down. And then once you've written them down, write a compassionate response to that, a true compassionate response. What do you want that to be? And how would you speak to your best friend if they said that inner critic thought? What would you say to them? And then once you have that new truth that you want to believe about your body, then you can go and you can strike through, like put a line through the inner critic thought. And then every time that those thoughts come up, write them down. Don't hide from them. Write them down and then think, what would be a compassionate way of looking at my body and talking to my body? What would that look like if I was a compassionate, loving person to myself? And even if you're not right now, that's okay. Ask yourself, if I was a compassionate, loving person to myself, what would I say instead? And write that down. So those are just a couple of things that I would really, really highly recommend doing. I wrote down a whole bunch of other things that I thought, but for time's sake and just for right now, for you to actually act on a couple of them or even one of them, I thought I would just leave it there. So let's see who is here So, Britt said that Mel won't be here, but then Mel said, hey, my beautiful friend, I'm on for 15 minutes, then that's it. Reckham, Texas Tech. Oh, okay. Awesome. Shoot. So you're going to be leaving pretty soon, or you're already gone. Maybe not. Who knows? So let's get into, Britt says we've been spending a lot of time outside in the backyard lately. I like to watch the birds. That's awesome. That's so good. Nature, sun. It is so good, not only for like us physically, but also emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It is so good to be connected to nature. So that makes my heart sing. That's awesome, Britt. Okay. So here's the next part of the show, and we actually only have a few minutes. So hopefully, Mel, you'll be able to get at least one of these in. We do a lightning round where we ask a couple questions. I'm just going to ask 3. And it might be just you, Britt, unless somebody else is watching and just not responding. Please respond and answer these 3 questions. So I got ChatGPT to answer them or ask them. So I'm not sure what's here. But what's one thing that you love about your body today? Ooh, that's a good one. Mel, if you're here, write it down. Number 2, what's a loving phrase you can say to yourself daily? I like that. And then number 3 is, how might your life change if you treated yourself like a best friend? Ooh, well, thanks, ChatGPT, especially for the Friend Leigh Show. That's a great way to end the show. So these are the 3 questions. I want you to answer them. Once you've answered one, go ahead and push enter so then you can be a part of the conversation. So what's one thing that you love about your body today? Number 2 is, what's a loving phrase that you could say to yourself every day? And number 3 is, how might your life change if you treated yourself like a best friend? I love that. Okay. So Mel is with us and she says, my smile. I love that. I love that so much. One of the parts of my body that I absolutely love are my eyes. Not only I love the color, but I also love, like, I'm able to actually see how I'm feeling based on my eyes. My eyes change color if I'm feeling like sick. They change color if I'm angry. They change color if I'm really, really happy. One of my favorite pictures is when I did the rappel last year off of the building. And when I came down, there was so much oxytocin in my body that my eyes were actually like, they were almost like, glow in the dark. Like, they were just so vibrant. I've never seen it like that ever. And that's what it was from. So fascinating. Oh shoot, we're in the dark. Please come back on. Okay. Well, I guess it's not going to. So this is going to be funny for the last couple of minutes. I could throw something at the door, but I'm not going to. Anyway. So, let's see. Mel says, you're killing it, girl. Ooh, I like that. That's going to be the thing that she's going to be able to say to herself every day. That is super, super good. And then Mel, if you're still listening, it would be, how might your life change if you treated yourself like a best friend? And Pop says, I'm still high school size. That's what I love about my body. Okay, that is cool. Good for you. That is great. And then what was number 2? Number 2 is, what's a loving phrase that you can say to yourself daily? I love yours. You're killing it, girl. That's really cool. I think one of the things that it really helps me to say, and that I'm going to start like really, really being conscious of saying it, is, I love you. I need to start saying it again, because I've been going through a very difficult year, and that just is, I don't always say it to myself. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Pop says, people love you. You should too. I love that. That's awesome. That is really cool. I like that. And then number 3 was, how might your life change if you treated yourself like a best friend? Okay. So for me, if I treated myself like my best friend, I probably wouldn't need a therapist. That's how my life might change. I might not be spending money on a therapist, although Stacy, I love you. And I also think that I would probably step into a much bigger version of myself a lot quicker. I do self-coach myself, but I also am not kind to myself all the time. And I think that would escalate it if I really, really spoke to myself as my best friend. Pop says, I would be nicer to myself. Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice? That sounds beautiful. And Mel says, I would be present too. I love that. Yes, you would give yourself more time and be present with yourself. I think that's beautiful. Okay, you guys. So visiting hours are now done. So I am going to wrap up the show. I love you tremendously. I'm so happy that you guys come on. If you're listening to this in the audio version, please come on over to YouTube, the Friend Leigh Show. Actually, it might be at Leanne Hello on YouTube. Come on over and be a part of the show next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about acceptance, but we're going to be talking about your purpose. And I think that's going to be a really, really solid conversation, especially if you're there. So I love you guys so much. Britt says, have a great week. You too. And Mel says, love you and have a blessed week. Thank you so much. You too, Mel. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of it. And I will see you next week. Love you. Love you.